Parents threatened me with my inheritance if I don't break up with my girlfriend. Hi everyone, I'm posting seeking advice because I feel at my wit's end and am in the process of securing a therapist, but haven't yet. To give a brief backstory, my mother and father divorced when I was 1.5 years old, and my father married my stepmother when I was 5. I've known her since I was 3 years old, and she's always been a part of my life, so I've considered her a third parent. The parents in reference the title are my dad and stepmom. My mom has been very supportive throughout this and has truly been my rock throughout this situation. They are all late 50s, early 60s in age, and we are all Latino, so take into account cultural and generational differences here. 2.5 years ago, in late 2021, I started dating my girlfriend, white and non-Latina. GF and I have had a great relationship. Our communication in conflicts was solid. I got along great with her friend group, and she really made me feel so seen in regards to my gender identity. The biggest problem with GF has always been how shy she is. The 2 times we got dinner with my mom she barely spoke, and mom doesn't have anything against her because she hasn't been able to get to know her words. Things came to a head in March of last year, after I told my parents we wanted to move in with each other a few months prior. Dad plus stepmom blew up at me, stating that I was trying to lie to them or deceive them about what point our relationship was at, because only people who were very serious about getting married move in with each other. They, mom, dad, plus stepmom, decided to meet her in March, and it went horribly. I was so anxious beforehand that I didn't sit her down and brief her about how my parents are, and that they already didn't like her. By the way, only my mom has consistently gendered her correctly. She's not super feminine, so my dad and stepmom insist on misgendering her and calling her my BF instead, and have yelled at me when I correct them, so I eventually stopped so as to not instigate fights. They basically interrogated her about what her intentions were, about what her plans for the future were, etc. GF dropped out of university and started working as an EMT and plans to become a paramedic, and they insisted that that was beneath me, and that I needed someone with a socio-economic background and education similar to mine. Meanwhile, she was raised by parents wealthy enough that they can afford to live in one of the most expensive parts of the state. At the time, I had been accepted into a PhD program, and the discrepancy in education was a major sticking point for them, despite the fact that my dad didn't get his associates until 2019, with my help in tutoring him, while stepmom and mom both have degrees. I told my girlfriend that it had gone poorly and that we needed to do something to make up for it, but quite frankly neither one of us could think of what to do. Then graduation came in May. I snuck away from my parents to see her, and then took her over to see them. Everyone was visibly uncomfortable, and the interaction ended quickly as I had other family there that I wasn't out to yet and did not know who GF was. Since then, I have moved out of state into an apartment that is too expensive for my stipend, and have relied on financial help from both sets of parents. Thankfully, I'll be getting a raise and will be able to afford life on my own come this fall, albeit on a very tight budget. However, every time I have visited dad plus stepmom, a 6+ hour long fight always happens where they berate me for still being with my girlfriend, insist that she is not the one for me, and accuse me of lying to them and get upset at me when I start crying and shut down mid-argument. This past month, it was 2 days of these fights, 6 hours the first day and 7 hours the second, where it climaxed in them threatening to not give me a cent of the inheritance if I stayed with her. They have also said other concerning financially related things, such as when I told them I didn't want their help anymore come this fall, that, you don't think we won't have a say in your life if we're not giving you money, right? I called her that night, sobbing, as she had noticed my distance over the past couple days and my lack of responding to her texts. She had also just put down a deposit for an apartment in my area. I cried and told her that this wasn't sustainable, that I couldn't continue like this, and that I couldn't handle the constant emotional battery from my parents. I apologized profusely, and told her I didn't know what else to do. The most obvious answer now is to have told them to fuck off and booked a flight the next day, but I know that would have started World War III, and I'd rather confront them over the phone in the safety of my apartment many states away. I know that in the long term, I probably wouldn't have been able to stay with her. My non-nuclear family is so homophobic and transphobic that I know I will have a hard time bringing a cis woman home, much less a trans woman. It just breaks my heart knowing that I gave in when I had been resisting this for almost a year and a half now.